before there was T&TEC. In the 1930s, there was the Trinidad Electricity Board, responsible for the island-wide electricity scheme, the tramcar service, and later, trolley buses. And long before the Trinidad Electricity Board, there was Edgar Tripp, an American businessman who, in 1891, approached the Port of Spain Borough Council with a plan to supply the city of Port of Spain with electricity. The T&TEC story began years later in 1946, when, on January 1st, it was granted responsibility for the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity in Trinidad and Tobago. At the same time, the newly formed Port of Spain Corporation Electricity Board, CEB, took responsibility for the tramcar and trolleybus service and electricity distribution, house wiring, and merchandising in Port of Spain. While electricity was first used in Tobago in 1946, it wasn't until 1952 that T&TEC started generating and expanding the electricity supply in Tobago. By 1962, Trinidad and Tobago's independence, T&TEC had 100,000 customers. In that year, the Port of Spain B power station was commissioned by the then Prime Minister, Dr. Eric Williams. The 1970s oil boom and the 1980s were about growth. The Point Lisa's power station opened in 1977 and was the largest independent generating unit installed at the time by T&TEC. In 1980, T&TEC supplied its first customer at 132,000 volts, the Iron and Steel Company. It was the first time that the load requirement of one customer was more than half the load requirement of the entire country. Throughout its history, T&TEC has received support from the Ministry of Public Utilities with programs to help families access electricity, the Electrification Program, the Utilities Assistance Program, and the Residential Electrification Assistance Program. In addition to these social support services, T&TEC has also supported and celebrated our nation's rich cultural history. T&TEC is proud to provide our nation with access to a safe, affordable, and reliable electricity supply. Today, citizens benefit from LED and solar streetlights, lighting on recreation grounds, 35% bill rebate, and more. In keeping with the national objective to reduce carbon emissions and the country's dependence on fossil fuels, renewable energy testing and research began in 2011. In addition to solar LED streetlights, T&TEC has facilitated, through licensing, solar PV installations across the country to further the national carbon reduction goals. Currently, the Commission is engaged in a number of infrastructural upgrades to ensure that the national grid supports the needs of our customers. And in 2026, the Board of Commissioners, under the leadership of the Minister of Public Utilities, the Honorable Barry Padarath, implemented new operational and transformational initiatives to improve the efficiency of the Commission. T&TEC is proud to have served the people of Trinidad and Tobago for the last 80 years, and we look forward to continuing to power the nation into the next generation.